have to understand what the communists do is urinate on everything.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my ass full of bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. Defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. I don't wanna hear it. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. White Beater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She lives in a pool, letting her cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you in my Kash and gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public benefit. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the bloody spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex, or even better at eplex.store. Sign up at the $5 or higher level and you get this entire show. And Downballot, both of which including Red Light, will be sent to your email the day after the show is live and a day or two before it hits the podcast feed. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Blue Sky. Yelling at shit libs, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the the cops. Don't hate the cops. Thank your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
So last night there was shots fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I don't really have that much to say about it. I think a lot of other people have been covering it, and I'll just kind of defer to their judgment. But I do want to show you what the president, or some of what the president said in response to it. It's stupid.
You know, it's not a particularly secure building, and I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it.
The military and the Secret Service are demanding the ballroom. Listen, this Correspondents' Dinner, it's like not like it has to be like a public place. It can't be at the fucking White House. Like, what is this guy talking about? This is just a scam. Everything with this guy's a grift. It's I don't know. It's not, I guess it's not surprising. Nobody should be surprised that the fucking grifter president is a fucking grifter. So we're going to talk a little bit about Iran now. If you could imagine, people are still wondering, like, what evidence was there actually? Because remember when it started, they're like, oh, they were going to attack the United States. Well, people are still trying to figure out what the evidence was. And I think we now have an inside line on what the evidence was from Press Secretary Leavitt.
The president said yesterday for the first time that he had to strike Iran because he believes that Iran was going to strike U.S. targets within 7 days. And then he bumped that down later to 3 days. Where is he getting that?
Well, that's not the first time the president has said that he chose to launch Operation Epic Fury because he felt as though Iran was going to strike the United States and our assets in the region first. Again, I addressed this in the last briefing. This was a feeling the president had based on facts provided to him by his top negotiators who had been engaged with the Iranian regime in a good faith effort. The Iranian regime was lying, deceiving the United States of America, clearly trying to continue their nuclear program to create a bomb that would, of course, threaten the United States of America. Again, their ballistic missile arsenal, they were rapidly and aggressively increasing that by the month to a place where they would essentially build immunity for themselves, where a future president or President Trump would not be able to launch this incredibly successful operation. And so the president, again, as I have reiterated, and he has said, was not going to sit back and allow the Iranian regime to threaten or to attack the United States of America any longer.
This idea that like we're the only like country, or like us and our friends are the only countries that should be armed to the teeth, is fucking stupid. Like, America's the only country that ever fucking dropped a nuke on another country. Maybe it should be the United States that everybody should be stopping from having all these fucking weapons, because we're a warlike people. We're a violent people. So I don't know. I guess Cuba's next, though. They've been saying this for a while too. I don't know if the U.S. is going to invade Cuba, but they might. I mean, we might. They might. I don't know. I'm not invading Cuba.
This great strength will also bring about a day, 70 years in waiting. It's called a new dawn for Cuba.
The State Department confirmed Secretary Marco Rubio dispatched a delegation of senior officials to negotiate in Havana. Last week, a U.S. government plane landed on the island nation's soil for the first time since 2016. As the U.S. fuel blockade worsens an already dire humanitarian crisis for Cuba's people, U.S. officials believe there is an opening to push communist leaders out. Quote, President Trump is committed to pursuing a diplomatic solution if possible, but will not let the island collapse into a major national security threat if Cuba's leaders are unwilling or unable to act. President Trump is reportedly considering a range of options, from U.S. military intervention to U.S.-led regime change.
You hear that Cuba is next.
Even Cuba's president, wary of U.S. threats, says at this point diplomacy and dialogue with the Trump administration would be, quote, difficult, given the changing nature of American foreign policy.
Cuba has always stood by its commitments, and the United States have not fulfilled its part of the deal.
President Obama ushered in the Cuban thaw of 2016, opening up Americans' access via travel and investment. But subsequent administrations restricted that access, much to the apparent dismay of Obama's inner circle.
Biden was a chicken go back to the Obama policy.
A senior official confirms to us tonight that that delegation met with Fidel Castro's grandson, who is 94 years old, while on the ground in Havana. They also tell us the delegation made demands of Havana, including major reforms like opening up the internet and making sure going forward that they agree to release at least some political prisoners, Brett.
We'll follow it. Jillian Turner, live at the State Department. Jillian.
God damn, the United States is just going around fucking bullying everybody. Fucking, I don't know. Wasn't Cuba just kind of over there minding their own fucking business? Like, I don't know that. I hadn't heard really shit about them. I think their only crime really is like being communist, which is fucking, I don't know. People be believing all kind of different things. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that they're a national security threat to the United States. It seems like the United States is a national security threat to just about fucking everybody lately. Canada, Greenland, Cuba, you know, we took out the leadership of Iran and Venezuela. I think we're the national security threat, not everybody else. We should calm the fuck down. Anyway, here's Rand Paul versus Marco Rubio on the president versus Congress's ability to declare and wage war.
They decided, and what was entered into the Constitution was that the declaration or initiation of war would be the power of Congress. Now, we have many advocates, many of whom are here today, who have been advocates for an expansive notion of presidential power. They often argue that wars are not really wars, that they're kinetic actions or drug busts. I think, though, if you reverse the circumstances, it becomes very difficult for these arguments to hold up. So I would ask you, if a foreign country bombed our air defense missiles, captured and removed our president, and blockaded our country, would that be considered an act of war?
Well, I think your question is about and I will acknowledge you've been very consistent on all these points the entire career. So let me no matter who's in charge. So I will point to two things. The first is it's hard for us to conceive that an operation that lasted about 4.5 hours and was a law enforcement operation to capture someone we don't recognize as a state, indicted in the United States, wanted with a $50 million bounty.
My question would be, if it only took 4 hours to take our president, it's very short, nobody dies on the other side, nobody dies on our side, it's perfect. Would it be an act of war?
We just don't believe that this operation comes anywhere close to the constitutional definition of war.
But would it be an act of war if someone did it to us? Nobody dies, few casualties, they're in and out. Boom, it's a perfect military operation. Would that be an act of war? Of course it would be an act of war. I'm probably the most anti-war person in the Senate, and I would vote to declare war if someone invaded our country and took our president. So I think we need to at least acknowledge this is a one-way argument. One-way arguments that don't rebound, that you can't apply to yourselves, that cannot be universally applicable are bad arguments.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I don't like Rand Paul. He's like a kind of a racist person, like doesn't believe in like civil rights and stuff. But here he's right. He's like, I don't know. He's like, what I would just ask Marco Rubio if they skipped the president, Marco, and they just fucking came and abducted you. Would you want the country to consider that to be an act of war? Obviously it is. I don't give a fuck if the United States, we don't recognize that as the leader of the country. Well, I don't give a fuck whether or not the United States recognized that Maduro was the leader of the country. Maduro was the leader of the country, and going in and kidnapping him was an act of war. If that country had the capabilities to retaliate, they would have, and they would have been justified doing so. Although I hope they would have maybe, I don't know, not bombed Oakland, So here's something weird that's going on. It seems like special forces were entering these betting markets. They call it prediction markets, and betting on what they were about to do, what the U.S. Special Forces was about to do, and they made money on it. And the president's going to be asked about that here. And if you can imagine, his response is going to be dumb.
Mr. President, apparently there was a Special Forces soldier who was involved in the capture of Venezuelan President Maduro, who was arrested by federal authorities today on suspicion of insider trading and betting on Polymarket. Are you concerned that federal employees are betting on these prediction markets and potentially getting rich?
Well, I don't know about it, but was he betting that they would get him or they wouldn't get him?
It sounds like he was betting on his removal from office, that Maduro would be removed.
Well,
it sounds like he was involved in the operation.
That's like Pete Rose betting on his own team. It's a little like Pete Rose. Pete Rose, they kept him out of the Hall of Fame because he bet on his own team. Now, if he bet against his team, that would be no good, but he bet on his own team. I'll look into it, yeah.
This dude's going to get a pardon. 100% this dude's getting pardoned like this week. Fucking the Trump family is heavily invested in these betting websites. I'm sorry. Markets. They're markets. They're markets like a commodity. They're markets. Here's more on that. Here's more from the president on that. He's gonna expand on that.
Look into it, yeah.
There are also bets that are being placed as well on the Iran conflict too, and there have been some trackings where people suspect that there's insider trading happening on these prediction markets around the war. Are you concerned?
Well, you know, the whole world, unfortunately, has become somewhat of a casino. And you look at what's going on all over the world, in Europe and every place they're doing these betting things. I was never much in favor of it. I don't like it conceptually, but...
Wait, what? You were never in favor of betting? What?
It is what it is. No, I think that I'm not happy with any of that stuff, but they have all these different sites. They have predictive markets. It's a crazy world. It's a much different world than it was. Please.
He was probably against all this stuff until Don Jr. and Eric got on the boards of these companies, and now he's actually probably fine with it. Somebody in chat's like, I don't know, maybe he is mad at betting because he did bankrupt a casino. That's fair. If you could imagine, Fox News seems to think it's okay. This is Will Kane talking to Tyrus. The Fox News is for this.
I'm going to reemphasize something that you said, Tyrus, that I do agree with. If we're going to talk about problems in the media, this is the least of our problems in the media. There are much bigger, there are much bigger problems for the media. You mentioned term inside trading.
Yeah, so this is a bad example of insider trading.
This is a good segue, Tyrus.
Okay,
Great transition. So I don't know if people have heard this story, but apparently one of the special forces soldiers involved in the Nicolas Maduro raid has now been arrested because he placed a bet on Polymarket ahead of time about whether or not Nicolas Maduro would go down. Obviously, he knew the prospect of that was very high. Not guaranteed, but very high. And apparently he made $410,000 on this bet. Now, I'm curious what you both have to say on this, in that I saw some on social media going, again, Washington, D.C., politicians, why are you going after
much?
Why are you going after one of our heroes?
I honestly, again, I feel like, and I love coming on your show, Will, but again, I don't care. Let him have it. Let him have it.
No.
With betting and everything else going on, because you said a great thing. He didn't have a guarantee. So you have a tip, but guys do it all the time.
Here's the reason we should care.
Or at least pardon him, because everyone else is getting pardoned.
But here's the reason that we actually
just pardon him because everybody else is getting pardoned. That's kind of what I think too, but not for the same reason.
Because that compromises potential OPSEC. And I can guarantee you people inside the Pentagon are going, you did what ahead of time? That could have tipped off anybody who had serious intel on spying on the United States. Could have been like, what is this bet? Look at this. Is there something coming for us in Venezuela? I don't care about the money. I don't care as much about the insider. I care about the operational security.
Yeah, but he definitely should never be in a position like that again.
Well, that's the difference to me too. As somebody who works in sports betting, it's like you can bet on games, and they talk about players doing inside betting and all that. Again, I don't necessarily care if you find a way to do it, but we're talking about real life things. We're talking about the military. We're talking about things that now people can go bet on. People can go trade. This is something that I don't know how they're going to even potentially stop.
Well, this is part of the way.
We opened that can of worms, though.
This is part of the way.
Now that it's legalized and regulated, though, it's going to continue to happen. But it's different than betting on if the Knicks are going to win a playoff game or not.
Which probably not going to happen.
You can play that. You can place that bet right now.
Oh, they got bants. This is all stupid. This shit should be illegal. This is how dumb. This should be illegal. But as Trump said, the world is a fucking casino, and he's right, and he should know. He should know. That's so weird, though. I think the only reason this stuff is getting legalized and regulated is because the Trump family's getting their piece, right? If the Trump family wasn't getting their piece, if their members of the Trump family weren't on the boards of these companies, this wouldn't be going on. They'd have put the kibosh on this. Here's some political analysis from Eric Trump's wife, Laura Trump.
What they want to do is anything but fair. They're trying to put their thumb on the scales. This is a naked power grab by the Democrats, and they don't even care who knows about it anymore. It's very obvious what they're doing. But the problem they're having, Martha, is whenever your party and your candidates are continuing to become more and more radical, you're going to have a harder time selling it to the American people. And the leadership understands that in the Democrat Party. So they're willing to do things like this to weigh it in their favor. They're willing to do things like we've all seen. They don't want voter ID. Why wouldn't you want voter ID? They don't want anything to be fair. They want to remain in power in perpetuity. And this is important as we're heading towards November for a lot of reasons. They're willing to do this, but they're willing to do so much more. We know they want to pack the Supreme Court. We know they want to do things like grant D.C. statehood. We know they want to do things like eliminate the filibuster. They're willing to disenfranchise voters and disempower voters who disagree with them, and they don't care who knows it. Watch.
Man, I wish the Democratic Party was as fucking cool as this lady fucking thinks they are. If they want to pack the Supreme Court, hell yeah, I think there's fucking 350 million Americans. I don't think there should just be 9 people on the Supreme Court. Or if there are, they should be rotating in from the appellate courts or something like that. You shouldn't just get this lifetime appointment on there and get to fucking grift off of it and fucking take bribes and shit like Clarence Thomas. Come on. But yeah, she's not. None of the Democrats aren't doing any of that. And this was directly kind of talking about Venezuela, Virginia. And I'm sorry, Trump went to Texas and was like, you need to redraw your maps and get me a few more seats. The thing there is Texas was already pretty gerrymandered. So there wasn't a lot of room left to gerrymander. So they're going to end up getting 1 seat out of this. They may end up, if things go really badly for the Republicans in the midterm, they may lose seats as a result of this because the margins in their districts are all so thin. Whereas places like California and Virginia, where previously, the districts were drawn by like independent commissions, trying to make it more fair. I don't think that the districts were ever drawn in a fair way. You look at even these independent committee, they're like drawn districts that look like fucking stalactites and shit. But there's more room to like gerrymander when you have these big fucking, when you have these districts like like in California, right? You just start pulling out pieces of LA and the Bay Area and making like a star, making like all these triangles out of that districts out of the Bay Area and fucking and Los Angeles, and you could probably get pretty damn near close to 100% of all the representatives being Democrats. They didn't do that, but there's just room. If you've already gerrymandered it in the way that Texas had, there wasn't a lot of room, and I hope they just end up like breaking the fuck even. Like, I mean, it would be great if the Democrats picked up seats in the legislature from Texas, but it'd be very funny if they went through all that fucking trouble in Texas to do that, and then the number of representatives for the Democrats and the Republicans in Texas stayed the same. Meanwhile, California and Virginia each pick up, between 3 and 5. Just because the fucking Republicans are fucking stupid and they thought they could take an extremely gerrymandered state and just squeeze a little more juice out of that shit. It's like when you get a lime and you put it in that fucking squeezer, right? And maybe you don't squeeze it all the way, but you're like, oh, I could really use a little more lime juice in my drink. And you put the fucking lime back in and you get like 3 more drops of juice out of it. That's what they were able to kind of do in Texas. So this isn't going to work for them. This is going to be fucking embarrassing. I love this. I wish none of this would have had to happen. I wish there weren't gerrymanders. The biggest gerrymander in this country is the Senate, though. Don't get that shit twisted. Anyway, up next, we got the new enemy of the political right seems to be this woman. Her name is Ms. Rachel. And she like hosts like children's shows, and she thinks it's I guess she thinks it's bad that there's a detention center and I guess Dilley, wherever that is. And she went and visited it. And wouldn't you know, she was like, well, this seems bad for the children there. And this is the right's new enemy, everybody. Look at this lady. Imagine this fucking lady being your enemy. Look at her.
Rachel. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me, Anthony.
Of course. You have spent so much time dedicated to speaking to 7 different families inside of Dilley and trying to just understand the conditions that they've been subjected to there. I want to know what you've learned from them, what you've learned from all of these kids.
It's heartbreaking talking to the kids and their families. They're talking about water that they can't even drink that makes them sick. There's been worms in the food. The food's rotten sometimes. And what really frightens me is the dangerously inadequate medical care and medical emergencies. These are basic human rights for children, and we can all agree not to harm and abuse children. It's not who we want to be. And I'm kind of in shock about what I'm hearing, and I don't think people really know what's going on inside of Dilley. And I think if we all know, I really think we can unite over not wanting to harm children. So.
No, ma'am. No, you were wrong. You were wrong, ma'am. You were wrong. Unfortunately, Miss Rachel, I think you're probably going to have to start the revolution. I think another reason that they fucking hate her is that she like is kind of coded like sort of like a woman that they would turn into like a trad wife, right? She's got like her voice is her voice, but she sounds younger than she is, right? Like her voice, it's like whatever. People's voices are different, but it's like that's like a thing that like trad wives try to like emulate when they talk. They try to do like that children talk or whatever. And so I think they're primarily mad at her because they think that somebody like her should belong to them. And she doesn't. So moving right along here, Kash Patel's lawsuit seems to be going well. Check this out.
I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Explain the computer login issue. Just explain the computer login issue. You were not able to log into your lawsuit contends that you were not able to log into the system. What did you think after you were unable to log into the system?
Let's have a survey. How many of you people believe that's true? Hang on.
Did you communicate?
You
with
asked the question. Let me answer it.
No, let me. No. Did you communicate with anyone that you thought you were fired after you were unable to log into?
The problem with you and your report. Don't cut me off. You asked the question.
Straightforward question.
The problem with you and your baseless reporting is that is an absolute lie. It was never said. It never happened. And I will serve in this administration as long as the president and the attorney general want me to do so. And every time you guys report false lies, every time you guys raise baseless questions, when we are here to talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center's $3 million decade-long scheme to fraudulently fleece Americans, you are off topic.
It's a simple, straightforward question. Did you talk to anybody about whether you thought you were fired?
The simple answer to your question is you are lying, and every time you do so, I've answered your question. It's simply as follows. I was never locked out of my systems. Anybody who says
your lawsuit says the opposite. Your lawsuit contains
anyone that says
he's like, I was never locked out of the system. He's like, I don't know. It just seems to be here in your lawsuit, like in the filing you put out. I don't know, you maybe talk to your lawyer or something, because it seems like they seem to think like you were locked out. Oh, the end of this is great. I don't know if y'all have seen this.
Opposite is lying.
The lawsuit
Thank you.
that you filed says that directly.
Man, stop. You're being extraordinarily rude.
You're being extraordinarily rude. He's like, hey, you're saying that you weren't locked out of your computer system, and then why is it right here in your lawsuit that you were locked out of your computer system? And then the second part that he was asking is like, hey, there were rumors that people, that you contacted people asking if you had been fired. And that would be, he's like, hey, those are rumors. I'm not going to talk about that. But the part about it being in his lawsuit that he was locked out of his computer, it's not rude to ask him about that. It's in the fucking lawsuit. Here's Kash Patel on Sean Hannity talking more about this lawsuit and his girlfriend or whatever.
I'm hesitant to ask you this next question, but I think you might want an opportunity to respond, only because with the New York Times, I remember there wasn't one, but there were 2 articles written about me. If my mother or my grandmother, I don't remember exactly, listened to Sean Hannity's advice on COVID, they'd be dead. And I went to my lawyer, wanted to sue them. I was really pissed off. And at the end of the day, we decided not to go forward with it. But it was such a blatant lie. And I'm reading that they're going after you, that you used the FBI because you didn't like a story about your girlfriend. And is there any truth to that? Because I've known you a long time. It just doesn't sound like you.
Absolutely not. The reality is, and thanks, Sean, is that this same reporter delivered a baseless story which caused a direct threat of life to my girlfriend. And that's not me saying. This individual has been charged, arrested, and is in court. And he said, as a direct result of the New York Times reporting, he wanted to take a rifle and canoe my girlfriend's face. We are going to protect not only me and my loved ones, but every American that is threatened. And the baseless New York Times came in over the top today and tried to delete that past reporting, refused to accept our comments, and refused to turn the attention to the actual court pleadings and the myriad of threats that have resulted to me and mine based on this baseless reporting. But here's the thing. Me and mine are like you and President Trump. We're as tough as they come. We're not going to stand down. We're not going to take it a knee on this one or anything. America elected President Trump to safeguard our communities. And you've seen what we've done. The 43% increase in spies that we've arrested. The children that we have found. 6,300 families now have their kids back. That's a 30% increase from the Biden administration. What the media should be asking is, why didn't they do any of this during the Biden administration? It's because they were too busy bankrolling the SPLC and getting in bed with them.
All right, well said. By the way, 8 of the top 10 most wanted. That's pretty important.
This is fucking 63. I don't know. What does he mean 6,300 kids? Like most of the kids that are reported missing are like found within fucking 24 hours, and it's a mistake, right? It's it was a 3-day weekend, and Auntie was coming to pick the kids up, and Auntie came and picked the kids up after school on Thursday. We didn't know. We thought it was Friday. We thought the kid was missing. Custody, not even custody disputes, just custody misunderstanding, co-parenting. Co-parenting can be hard, and you don't know where your kid is, and the kid's with the other parent. For whatever reason, you can't get a hold of the other parent. Who knows? So I don't even know about this 6,300 number. I don't know where it came from, unless he's talking about like they deported 6,300 kids, and now those kids are like with their family either in a detention center or in some other country. I don't know. So here, they had mentioned this thing about the Southern Poverty Law Center. We got to keep an eye on this because this is fucking stupid. This is probably, my guess is that this is just going to get thrown out because it's actually not, it's not fraud to hire confidential informants to do reporting, essentially. So, but we'll see what's going on here.
I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what the investigation found, according to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So the Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism. And over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they called them field, basically to informants, for information, for access, to just pay them for certain, to do certain things. And so, yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
So they paid people for access and information about hate groups, and that's I think when you donate to the Southern Poverty Law Center, I think you're donating to them because they do that stuff. I think that's literally why you give them money. It's because they do that. You can't, you sometimes have to fucking pay people to get them to turn on their homies or to give you information or to put themselves in some sort of peril to get information for you. Sometimes you have to offer them something in return. Is it the opinion of these people now that if the police pay an informant that the police are committing fraud? Anyway, here's more on this. This is so fucking stupid.
To me. And you have to wonder for what purpose. I mean, they love to put groups and names of prominent conservatives, and over the years they've attacked me, on their lists and smear and slander them. And now we find out that they use a backdoor and shadowy accounts to fund them. Can you explain that?
Yeah, Sean, look. Money doesn't lie. The charity that supposedly fought the Klan funded the Klan. The charity that supposedly fought neo-Nazis funded neo-Nazis. The Southern Poverty Law Center ran a methodical, calculated scheme to defraud their donor base of $3 million and lied to them and used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being sent to, specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society. This is the ultimate definition of hypocrisy. And if you look at the indictment produced by the Department of Justice and the FBI, you will see that these banking institutions tie directly the funding mechanisms in which the Southern Poverty Law Center used to fund at least 8 hate groups they supposedly wanted to take out, but they were paying the very villains of our society they supposedly wanted to protect us from. That's the ultimate hypocrisy.
So I think that they would use a fake company, not a fake company, but they would use a company that isn't the Southern Poverty Law Center or whatever to issue the checks, just so that it'd probably be like good OPSEC, so that there's one less way for the organizations that they're trying to infiltrate are able to find out that this person is an infiltrator. So, I mean, you can't just pay them with a check. You can't just get them a fucking thing in the mail from the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's like, here's your check. Thanks for the information. Can't do that. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that. So up next, we got Todd Blanche, and this is the Laura Ingraham show. And Laura Ingram's going to ask Blanche, when are you going to go after Comey, Clapper, and Barack Obama, which is insane. I mean, those people are all probably criminals, but come on.
Now, folks on the right want to know when we're going to see progress in investigations of Brennan, Comey, Clapper, and perhaps given what we learned about his desire to ignore the intel community in 2016 and 2017 on the Russia issue, Barack Obama. What can you say to people tonight about the progress of these investigations. People want indictments and they want accountability for Crossfire Hurricane and the Russia investigation.
Sure. So what I can say is the same thing we've been saying all along. These investigations have to be done in secret. They cannot be done in the open, and not only because of grand jury secrecy, but it destroys the integrity of the investigation. We have great people working on all of these issues, really smart people, and we're going to continue to do that work, and when there's an appropriate time to talk about it, we will.
Yeah, I mean, people just feel like if the government can actually do this to a sitting, a candidate and then undermine his presidency, these people claim they're for democracy and protecting democracy.
It shakes the heart of our democracy to understand what happened. And I never will be critical of anybody saying we need to hear more, we need something quicker, because it's true. If these allegations, what we've heard is
10 years
very
ago.
troubling. And it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago.
People are like, move on. I don't see how you can move on from this.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, we have...
I'm sorry, like investigating a presidential none of this is like, this is all bullshit. Again, I think if they try to do this, it'll get fucking thrown out. Who were they going after? They were going after the chair of the Fed, or I forget who they were going after, and they just dropped the fucking charges recently because they fucking, I don't know, they didn't have the goods or whatever, or fucking, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised they got an indictment against Southern Poverty Law Center. To be honest, they weren't able to indict that ham sandwich guy for throwing a ham sandwich. So anyway, I don't even fucking know who this guy is, but this is just gonna be kind of all over the place. He's gonna go after Ilhan Omar because these people hate Ilhan Omar for whatever reason. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Well, another day and another headline about a certain congresswoman's not so stellar record of honesty and competence. Last year, Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure revealed skyrocketing wealth. It showed a whopping net worth of up to $30 million, a 3,500% increase in wealth compared to just 2 years prior. Now she's trying to convince the world that she's actually only worth $95,000. Still quite a jump from 2 years ago, but in an eye-popping revision of her disclosure, Ms. Omar is saying the multi-million-dollar discrepancy was nothing more than an accounting error. In what world is a multi-billion-dollar correction to a person's financial...
It's fucking... okay, so it's a few... 30 million, 95,000, multi-million, and now we're at multi-billion. Billion. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Disclosure considered normal. Perhaps this member's accountant, perhaps Ilhan's accountant, is a graduate from the Quality Leering Center. Either way, this about face shows incompetence at best and a cover-up at worst. But this is just the latest in a long list of head-turning stories relating to this member from Minnesota. Ilhan cannot escape accountability much longer. Investigations are ongoing in House committees. The Trump administration has waged war on fraud. Her ties to convicted Feeding Our Future fraudsters are well documented. And her defense of these criminals who stole billions from hardworking taxpayers makes it very clear where her allegiance stands. Make no mistake, if Ilhan Omar is discovered to have been involved in any or to have benefited in any way from any fraud, she must be held accountable to the fullest extent. And by the way, that includes marriage fraud.
Oh, it's the fucking Jacob Wall thing. Oh, the marriage fraud. They want so bad for her to have married her brother. Homegirl didn't marry her brother. There's nothing to even explain. Homegirl didn't marry her brother. There's nothing else. There's no, well, it looked like she married her brother because no, Homegirl didn't marry her brother. They just fucking, that's some Jacob Wall bullshit. It's Jacob Wall and Laura Loomer. That's the whole of it. It's the entirety of it. Jacob Wall and Laura Loomer. That's where that rumor comes from. We covered it in our cast of characters documentary, we'll call it, about Jacob Wall. She didn't marry her fucking brother. That's bullshit. Anyway, this James Talrico guy, I was hoping that Jasmine Crockett won the primary in Texas, but this Talrico guy seems pretty good, and with the way that everything looks like it might be going in November, this guy might win. So let's check out this news hit with Talrico and Tapper.
You've been open about your faith as a Christian, but you were also a vocal opponent of Texas state law requiring the display of the Ten Commandments in public classrooms. On Tuesday, a federal appeals court ruled that the Texas law does not violate the Constitution. Republican Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, your other possible opponent this November, he said, quote, "This is a major victory for Texas and our moral values. The Ten Commandments have had a profound impact on our nation, and it's important that students learn from them every single day," unquote. What's your response to Ken Paxton there?
Well, I'm not sure if Ken Paxton is in a place to lecture us on moral values. You know, my granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas, and when I was real little, he told me that Christianity is a simple religion. Not an easy religion, he would always clarify, but a simple religion, because Jesus gave us two commandments to follow: love God and love neighbor. And there was no exception to that second commandment. My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself. Not just my neighbors who look like me, not just my neighbors who vote like me, not just my neighbors who pray like me. I'm called to love all of my neighbors the way I love myself. That includes my Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, agnostic, and atheist neighbors. I don't want anyone forcing their religion down my throats. I certainly don't want the government forcing a religion down my throat. And so why would I do that to any of my neighbors? In the Texas House of Representatives, I have been a vocal critic of Christian nationalism. I'm a Christian, but I know that the most dangerous form of government is theocracy, because the only thing worse than a tyrant is a tyrant who thinks they're on a mission from God. And I've also been the most vocal defender of the separation of church and state. I was raised to believe that that separation in our First Amendment, in the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause, is a sacred boundary that doesn't just benefit the state, doesn't just benefit democracy, but it also benefits the church. Because when the church gets too cozy with political power, it loses its prophetic voice. So I think this is an unconstitutional decision. I also think it's a deeply unchristian decision, because we are supposed to be loving all of our neighbors, particularly our neighbors of other faiths.
Man, I sure hope that that guy wins. Although he's given kind of big he's given big fucking Beaver Cleaver vibes or whatever. But I hope that guy wins. He seems okay. And he may have a chance to win. So up next we got this is Indiana's Lieutenant Governor Beckwith is not happy about the Virginia redistricting, if you could imagine such a thing.
Well, I just think, if that vote holds and we see that Virginia does amend their constitution to go down the redistricting path, I would just say, wake up, Christians. They are coming for you. And you can't pet a demon. I mean, I know people like to say just, hey, demons, stay over there. But, we just don't hurt us and we won't hurt you. It doesn't work that way. Evil will find you. And until strong men stand up and do something and fight fire with fire, then we will continue to lose ground. Our children will be warped. The curse will be over the land, as Pastor Kuhneman was saying. And so I think it's time. Like, I hope.
I'm sorry, Hank Kuhneman is a pastor?
But at the same time, I don't think
he's a pastor. Hank Kuhneman's a pastor the same way fucking Hamburglar Dan Bidondi is a pastor.
I've kind of been saying that all along, because the Democrats and the side of darkness, which again, Democrats aren't necessarily all dark, but they are being led by the minions and the voices of darkness. And they're going to win. They're playing to win. And so we have to wake up and guys, step up. And if we win, if we go on the battlefield, we will win. The question is, will we enter the battlefield? That's just what I don't know.
Dude, shut up. Man. I'm glad this stuff is kind of where the right is going, because I think it's like off-putting. Like maybe even some Christian nationalists are like, oh, do we want to do it this way? I don't know if we want to do it this way. I think this is like off-putting. And I think I don't think we're going to be flipping this isn't some blue sky shit where I think, we're going to flip a bunch of moderate Republicans to vote for Democrats. No, those people are Republicans. If they vote, they go vote for Republicans. I think what's going to happen is a lot of them motherfuckers are going to stay home. Half of people don't vote anyway. Laura Ingraham also not happy about the redistricting.
The Virginia lesson, that's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, Dems won the Virginia special election last night on redistricting, but they just lost a legal battle. In an order that was just issued, a circuit court judge in Tazewell held that the referendum was unconstitutional. The judge entered an injunction blocking certification of the election and denied a motion to stay pending appeal. Now, the state attorney general, Jay Jones, announced he will, of course, appeal this immediately. No surprise there. And this is ultimately going to be fast-tracked to the Commonwealth Supreme Court. It's hard to game this stuff, but I think it's probably less than 50-50 that the Democrats lose this. But the redistricting ballot initiative was worded in a confusing fashion. And it does have the effect, no doubt, of disenfranchising approximately 40 to 45% of Virginians who will now have zero representation or paltry representation for their views and their values.
I know you campaigned for governor as a moderate seeking to represent all Virginians, but what do you say to constituents who feel this ballot measure was partisan and only serves the interests of the Democratic Party?
There are many other opportunities for them to look at my body of work as governor, the work that I am doing as governor, and see in that work that I am working for them.
Oh, working for the people. She said stuff like, oh, farming. She's focusing on the farmers and affordable housing, stuff like that. Nice non-answer, Governor. She is an insufferable woman. Now, look, you got to hand it, though, to the Democrats.
So this was passed by the voters, that this wasn't an executive order by the governor.
May not have a positive agenda to run on, but they don't care. For them, it's all about winning, and they mean business. On this, they went all in with their heavy hitters like Obama, huge money, and they ultimately beat Republicans by having better messaging and a better ground game. And they're not stopping there. As Senate Republicans agonizing, they hem, they haw over nuking the filibuster, well, Democrats are already planning to do it if they get back into power.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. We're going to keep the pressure on Republicans in every single state in the union to ensure at the end of the day that there is a fair national map.
All right, you heard him. Maximum warfare. Now, what do people think he means there? Holding polite debates? Well, Jeffries might be odious, but he is telling us what they intend to do. And it's to reverse every aspect of the MAGA agenda by any means necessary. Again, maximum warfare. Listen to what they say. And, oh, by the way, they say Trump is dividing the country. Of course, the Democrats argue, using fourth grade logic, that Texas started it with its own midterm redistricting.
Yes. Yes.
And yes, it is true. Texas was aggressive with the timing. But at least it followed the state law by calling on the state legislature to vote on this. And then it was signed into law by the governor. It's permissible as well under Supreme Court precedent. But by contrast, the Virginia measure leapfrogged its own bipartisan commission.
The people voted for it.
That was a body established to prevent this type of partisan gerrymandering. But Scamberger and others, look, they're going to defend it by arguing that since this was described as temporary in the ballot measure itself, it's legit. Well, again, this is something that the Virginia Supreme Court is going to have to decide. But again, Republicans cannot bank on a favorable court ruling here. They need to learn some hard lessons, and they need to learn them fast.
Team Jeffries has dumped more than $50 million into this. And they view this as an opportunity for the largest power grab that anyone can imagine.
Now, we need more than just money, though, to beat them. We need grassroots engagement. We need a Tea Party-like activism on the ground.
So fucking poorly spelled signs and fucking people getting their fucking hover rounds stuck in like the mud. Like, what do you...
RNC, if the RNC doesn't see what's at stake here. But there is also a flip side here. Democrats are a lot more vulnerable than the media is letting on. Despite outspending Republicans, Virginia, 3-1, Democrats only won this measure by 2.9 points. Meaning this...
Wait a minute, doesn't Homegirl say that Trump won the fucking 2024 election in a landslide, and wasn't the popular vote like less than 2.9% difference.
Kamala in the 2024 race, which she won by 5.8 points.
Last night, this was a 3-point race. That's actually a 3-point overperformance of the Trump 2024 historic performance in Virginia. So just as a baseline for all the Democrats crowing this morning, if Republicans perform anywhere near on average the way they did in Virginia last night, we not only add seats to the Senate, but we add seats to the House, and we have a historic midterm.
So if we only lose by, like, shut the whole fuck up.
It was one of despair, being honest with you, but we should not fall prey to that. Instead, let's use this moment. We have no time for complacency, no time for defeatism. Let's dust ourselves off and fight. Remember, the left has no meaningful agenda to run on. They don't care about your standard of living. They didn't care about gas prices when Biden was president. They don't care about them now. They want to outlaw your gas-powered cars. They're running a campaign right now.
So she said the Democrats have no agenda, and then she laid out what she thinks the Democratic agenda is. That's amazing.
To demoralize and divide you. Do not let them win.
Oh, that's fucking amazing. So there's going to be differences in an off-year election. This was a special election. So it's you're going to get a lower turnout and sort of a different voter demographic. And lower turnouts tend to favor Republicans. It just does. And so when she was mentioning that it was, by the way, the difference between a 2.9 and a little less than 5 is a less than 2. So which the turnout, I would like to see the difference in the turnout in the 2024 presidential election in Virginia versus the turnout for this special election, because I bet there's a big fucking difference there. And a turnout difference, when the turnout is lower, it almost always favors Republicans. It's just how it is. So now RFK Jr. has been spending a lot of time in front of Congress. Here is, remember last week he was talking about reparenting black kids if they're on SSRI drugs. He's gonna insist that he's still insisting that he didn't say that. And here's him talking to the same fucking person he was talking to last week. And she's like, I have the recording. Do you want it?
My next question. Now, you've had some trouble with the truth. I've seen it myself during your appearances before Congress. And as we all saw clearly during your exchange last week with Congresswoman Sewell, can you admit today that you said every black kid can get reparented on a wellness farm? Can you admit that you said that?
Can get reparented on a wellness.
Well, let me read exactly what you
No, I remember this. Do anybody else here remember this? He was talking about this. It was when he was campaigning against Trump and Biden, or against, I guess, Trump and Harris. No, it was Trump and Biden at the time because Biden hadn't dropped out. I remember this. I was like, this is crazy. Why are you trying to put people in concentration camps because they have mental health issues?
You said every black kid is now
big fucking troubled teen industry fucking vibes. Anybody remember that troubled teen industry fucking shit? I bet it probably still exists in some way.
Well, let me read exactly what you said. You said every black kid is now just standard, put on Adderall, on SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence, and those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You know, you claimed, in fact, you went on to say, actually the whole transcript was even worse. You said that if you could, you would send, quote, every black kid, again, your words, not mine, to go live on farms and work. Is that your...
I would have to hear that recording because...
Well, I have the recording.
I have no memory of...
I have the recording. And he's like, uh-oh. This is what happens when you go on 900 podcasts a year.
Anything like that.
Yeah, well, I actually have the recording that I can give to you, but it is absolutely what you said. And if you want me to play it, I can play it.
If you ask me what...
Oh, play it right into the fucking... Yeah, play it right into the fucking microphone like this is the Shasta Board of Supervisors. Let's go. Play that shit. Hell yeah. Play it from your phone. Do it. Do it.
My opinion is I do not believe that every black kid should be reparented on a wellness farm or whatever, and I have never believed that.
Well, you said it, sir. I have the video here. In fact,
I'm telling you, I don't believe it. That's not my vision for our country.
Well, I'm glad because it was ignorant to say, it was dangerous, and it was irresponsible.
Well, if I said it, I apologize, but...
If I said it, I apologize. Homie, she has the fucking file right there on her phone. Homie, you said it.
Senator Markey.
Yeah, this is why, like, if you're running for president, don't go on like Hot Takes podcasts and give your fucking hot take about fucking everything. Like, this is why, like, presidential candidates have a media team. They like help them. They're like, ooh, don't go on that podcast. That guy's a crazy person, right? Like all right, here's what you're going to say on the podcast. Don't vary from this, please. This guy was just like wilding out. Here, this is a great story. He's going to talk about how AI fucking cured some guy's dog's cancer. I fucking, when I started doing this podcast in like 2015, it never ever occurred to me that I would be saying the HHS director was talking to Congress saying that an artificial intelligence cured somebody's dog's cancer. I could have predicted a lot of things, but not this.
AI is going to revolutionize medicine, and it may at some point make FDA even irrelevant. And it's going to give us the capacity to develop new drugs, personalized medicine for every citizen. You know, I just was reading about a dog that had cancer, and his owner used AI to develop a personalized treatment that cured the cancer. We're going to see that now in medicine, across medicine, and we're very excited about it. AI is very dangerous potentially, but it also has the capacity to bring really great things to humanity, particularly in the realm of human health.
Great. Thank you very much. Next.
Oh God, that's some shit right there. So first of all, I read the article. First problem here is that this treatment was a mRNA, which this guy's against. There's a first ding in this. Secondly, the dog's tumor got smaller. And the dog's quality of life seems to have improved, but this could have been because of other treatments. There are times when people go into remission, or dogs or animals go into remission. There are times when tumors shrink on their own, thankfully, right? For the humans or animals, people sometimes get better. But there's no reason to believe that this dog has been cured. You go look this up. It's all over the internet now. There's no reason to believe this dog has been cured. And also, again, this is an mRNA treatment, and these people are supposedly against mRNA or whatever. The whole thing just doesn't add up. Up next, we're going to talk about how you calculate percentages again, because RFK Jr. has just been fucking digging his heels in on this one. This is like the third or fourth time he's fucking had the fucking balls to tell somebody this.
President Trump and the Republicans slashed health care for millions of families. The president pitched his Trump RX website as the answer for Americans who are worried about health care costs. He claims that Trump RX has reduced prices by as much as 600%, which I think means companies should be paying you to take their drugs. But let's do some real math here. Take one drug, Protonix, a 30-day supply of this heartburn medication, costs $200 on Trump RX, but there is an identical generic version of this pill called pantoprazole. Secretary Kennedy, do you know how much it costs for a 30-day supply of that drug at Costco?
But I would say this, Senator.
Do you know what it costs?
President Trump has a different way of calculating.
President, we got our own kind of percentages around here. See, here's how this works. And I swear I haven't heard this, but he's said this before. He's like, if something was, if something was 60 and it goes down to 10, 10 times 6 is 60, and that would be a 600%. And that would be a 600% increase. But that's not how we calculate decrease. I swear to you, he's going to do this. Watch. I'm not kidding. That's what he's going to do it.
Two ways of calculating percentage. If you have a $600 drug and you reduce it to 10, that's a 600% reduction.
Well, that would no. Wait a minute. That wouldn't. Wait. Even the way I was doing the math. No. That would be a 6,000. It would go up 6,000% from 10 to 600. So he's not even doing the fake math correctly.
You know, I only have 5 minutes. Do you know what the drug costs at Costco?
I do not.
The drug is $16 at Costco. Trump RX charges $200 for Protonics, and Costco charges $16. Let's do another one.
So his fake math didn't even work, right? Because 600 versus 10, 600 is 6,000% more, because that would be 60 times. Or I don't even now I'm confused. Fuck it. Who cares? But I too am the ultimate math nerd. Did you know that RFK Jr. does not like questions about the measles outbreak? We got some of this last week too. It's almost like the hearings that happened this week were like a remix almost of the ones we watched last week.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blunt, Rochester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The United States first became measles-free over 25 years ago, a quarter of a century. We have maintained that status in every year since, until you became secretary. A simple yes or no. Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
You want me to answer
the question? It's just a very simple question.
Just want a grandstand.
You're going to get your opportunity.
You want a grandstand?
Can you answer?
I can answer that question.
Yes
I didn't cause
or no?
the measles epidemic. It started before I came in.
Sir, I'm giving you the opportunity to answer the question. Mr. Chairman, can I get my time back from this?
Like, how many cups of coffee or tea or whatever does this motherfucker need?
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry.
I was asking, can I get my time back
Yes, you can.
from him interrupting
Yes.
a simple yes or no question? Does the president know there is a historic measles surge occurring nationwide?
I'm sure he does.
You're sure he does. Remarkably, Ralph Abraham, your former CDC principal deputy director, said that losing our measles-free status is not really significant and just the cost of doing business with our borders. Another simple yes or no. Does the president think this is not a significant issue?
Losing our measles elimination status?
Yes.
Well, most of the countries are losing it.
Does he think it's a
I'm sure he
significant
doesn't
problem?
think it's a good development that's happening all over the world.
Have you talked to him about it?
About measles?
About the outbreaks? About the crisis in this
Yeah, I
country?
have.
Okay, so yes or no, he does know it's a problem.
Yes.
Oh, this guy, it's as if there was a worldwide movement, possibly that happened on the internet, headed up by grifters and charlatans. Possibly one of them who was RFK Jr., who was drumming up all this fear about vaccines for a fucking very long time. It's not like he just showed up on the fucking world stage when he became the director of HHS. Like, this is so disingenuous for him to be like, well, I wasn't the director of HHS when I was doing this, when I was telling everybody not to vaccinate their kids. So I don't know. It's not my fault. Well, it's not just your fault, but you were part of the movement. But don't worry. This is Greg Kelly. He also does not think that we should be worried about measles.
Next, please.
Americans today are less safe under your watch. Children are dying of diseases that we thought we had eradicated. You can smirk, sir, but I answer to the people of Michigan, and they have told me you should be ashamed, you should resign, and if you refuse, Congress should remove you from office. I yield back.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
You're damn right he was smirking at you. Nobody talks like that in real life. RFK is doing, I think he's pretty cool. I like him. You know, he's fantastic on nutrition. And it's a free country. It is. And the overreaction to the flu. How about the measles, right? Watch out. The killer measles.
A massive South Carolina measles outbreak surging. Infections nearly doubling in a week.
All right. I mean, you can see it. It's over the top sometimes. Breaking news, another outbreak, this, that, and the other thing. Chillax a little bit. Just remember what happened when we were little kids. Who remembers the Brady Bunch? I remember it in reruns, not when it was actually on regular network TV. When Peter came home, not when he kissed Millicent, not when he had the paper.
So wait a minute, when we were little kids, but you're watching, so this guy's like my age, maybe a little bit older. So he's like, I saw the Brady Bunch. Well, the Brady Bunch was, if it was in reruns, those were old. They were old episodes. So are these people, I swear to you, he's just going to conflate the measles and chickenpox. Chickenpox is uncomfortable, but very unlikely to kill you.
Out, not when he was Scoop Brady, but when he had the measles.
Hi. Peter. What are you doing home from school?
They sent me home. Measles.
It's either measles or a strange case of red freckles. You have got a temperature.
They told me 101.1. What's the record?
Never mind.
Oh, are you sure it's the measles?
Well, he certainly got all the symptoms. A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile.
No school for a few days.
Say hello to my dotted son for me. Tell him I'll bring him some comic books and I'll see you later, dear.
Okay, honey, bye.
Wow, why don't they call the fake news hotline and panic? Because we were healthier back then, mentally, physically, in so many ways. That show was on TV 1969 to 1974, I believe. Coincides with the Nixon administration. The Brady family, though, wasn't off the hook when it came to the measles. It wasn't just Peter.
Well, all the kids have now had the measles.
So have I.
Well, I had them years ago. Looks like the Bradys are finished with the measles. Hold it.
You're not through yet.
Alice, don't tell me you're coming down with the measles.
Oh, I hope so. I'd hate to think I was just learning how to blush at my age.
Oh, Alice, I'm sure you'll get over those measles just in time for Sam to take you to that Meatpackers ball. How about that? They don't tell you when somebody dies of measles these days. There are comorbidities. There are other conditions going on, and one little can push you over the edge. Just a lot cooler back then.
Listen, the Brady Bunch is not medical research. It is a television show, a comedy. Like, what the fuck, dude? And this is some eugenic shit, right? Where they say, well, I don't know, the people who die of measles have comorbidities. Dude, I'm 49 years old. I am a comorbidity, right? Like, everybody probably has some kind of fucking comorbidity. So that's not really he's not really like flexing the way he thinks he is. Wonder what that guy's comorbidities are. We got a couple more, actually, shorter docket than usual this week, just because, like, I don't know. Shorter docket. Maybe it was a slow news week. A lot of crazy shit happened, but not a lot of shit happened. So here's Josh Hawley talking about biblical masculinity. Shout out to Right Wing Watch and other such organizations. Hopefully Right Wing Watch doesn't get indicted for fucking reporting on these motherfuckers.
The Lord calls you, men, to something more, and your lives are central to the revival of this nation. As a culture, we have to reclaim that truth, and we have to raise up healthy examples of biblical masculinity to say that, no, we need strong men. We need them. We need men and families who are leading them, who are choosing to get married, who are providing for their families. But you know what else we need? We need an economy where men can get a job and afford to have a family. And increasingly, they cannot in this country. And that's a problem. It's more than a problem, it's a crisis. You know, it is almost impossible now in this country, 21st century America, to support a wife and children on a blue-collar wage. 50 years ago, you could do it. Today, it's almost impossible. In fact, we've got fewer and fewer blue-collar jobs. And by blue-collar, I just mean jobs that don't require a 4-year college degree. You may say to me,
there are jobs that he might refer to as blue collar where actually you maybe don't need a degree, but if you have a degree, actually, like if you're like if you're in the trades, if you're a carpenter and let's say you have a degree in architecture or whatever, it's probably very good for you in the trades, actually. So this guy's probably wrong.
70% of men in this country don't get a 4-year college degree. We need a country. We need an economy where a man can support himself and his wife and family by the work of his hands. Not dependent on government, not dependent on somebody else, by the work of his own hands. Today, more and more families, if people do get married, if the husband and wife do get married and have children, both spouses have to work jobs, increasingly long hours, just to pay for the basic necessities of life, just to have the family. This is just to have 1 or 2 kids. And we hear it all the time from the corporations. The corporations love it. I can't tell you how many corporate lobbyists I've had in my office who said, Senator Hawley, we need to do more to get more people in the workforce, and particularly we need to get all the men and all the women we can in the workforce. We need everybody working all the time. And I said, well, what about parents? What about families? They said, oh yeah, we need everybody working. Well, who's going to raise the kids then? If you've got to have 2 incomes of full-time work in this country to raise a family, who's going to raise the children? And I tell you who's going to raise the children. It's going to be government daycare, which is what the government wants and the corporations want. They would love for that to happen. They'd love for the government to raise our kids. We'll go work endlessly, husband and wife, endlessly, and the kids will be raised either by YouTube, Netflix, or the government. What a terrible series of choices. We need something better than that. Now you might say to yourself, well, he's talking about economics. You better believe I am. You bet I am. I just submit to you that we don't need a more conservative economy. We don't need a more liberal economy. We need a Christian economy. We need a Christian economy that rewards the family. You can clap for that.
You can clap for that? Oh, they weren't going to clap. They're like, this is stupid.
An economy that rewards the family, that protects the family, that rewards marriage. And I think as Christians, we ought to be unabashed by it. Our goal ought to be, I submit to you, we should get an economy in this country where you can raise a family on 1 income. We ought to get an economy in this country. You can say, if you will work hard, you'll go to work every day, you'll be responsible, you'll work to better yourself. If you will do that, you'll be able to earn an income where you can get married and you can have a family. That ought to be our signpost. That ought to be our North Star as believers. Because if we say we're for
at least this guy believes in space.
Family, we've got to be for a society that supports the family. And my worry right now is we're trending in this country increasingly towards one of 2 extremes. Either communism, and we see that in places like New York, universal basic income, just give us the money, We don't want to work. Just give us the money.
And the other extreme is socialism. It's woke. The other extreme, he's not going to say fascism, right? I don't think he's going to say the other extreme is fascism or Christian nationalism or Gilead from Handmaid's Tale. The other extreme is going to be like woke. Or
a kind of neo-feudalism in which the Netflix CEO that I was mentioning the other day, he's doing fine. He's doing more than fine. He's going to make plenty of money, but everybody else will have to slave away for endless hours, husbands and wives together, working for companies like...
Oh, now do Elon Musk.
Barely make enough to see their children once a week. I just submit to you, that's not the United States of America, and more importantly, that is not the kingdom. No, we need a kingdom economy. The Lord Jesus, last I looked, Lord Jesus was king over our economic life, over our labor, over our families.
That's not even what Jesus said. That motherfucker was like, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. You stupid dude. Go read the fucking Bible. Why I'm a fucking atheist. I don't go to church. I've only been to a church like 5 times in my fucking life. Why do I know more about what's in the Bible than these motherfuckers do?
As he is over the church. Amen. We need to reassert the lordship of Christ. And for those who say to us, leave this to us. Christians, leave the economics to us. Christians, leave the social policy to us. Christians, leave the family to us. We will say, not on your life. Because we serve a Lord who's Lord over all of those things. And we will raise up an altar to claim this ground for him, for this country, over the innocent unborn, over our families, over our men, and over their labor.
All right, great. So raise the minimum wage to $35 an hour or $40 an hour, which would kind of be the minimum, I think, in like a very low cost of living part of this country for one parent. And he means the father, but I will just say one parent. I don't give a fuck which of them works, right? But that would be like the bare minimum for people who live in like low cost of living areas to be able to like maybe eventually buy a house and provide food and shelter to like a family of 4. But they're not even into that family of 4 shit. They're like, what do you mean 4? All you're doing is replacing mom and dad with 2 people. You got to have like 8 kids. These pronatalist people, they run up against like a big problem. The big problem is to do the thing that they want. The people that are doing it have to be rich. Like rich. My dad always made really good money, and about half of the time when I was under the age of 18, my mom was working, and it was because they wanted more stuff. They wanted to fucking go on more vacations. My mom wanted to work. She was a software engineer. I don't see the fucking problem here, but they run up against this problem because they don't want to like raise the wages that fucking poor people are doing. You notice when he's talking about blue collar, but when they talk about the working class, this guy does not mean the people cooking your food, cleaning the fucking hotel room you just stayed at, cleaning the restaurant you ate at. They don't mean any of those people. They don't mean the people serving you the drinks at the bar. They don't mean any of those people. They don't mean the people working at the fast food restaurant. They don't mean the people working at the fucking grocery store. They don't mean that when they say working class. They have this this fantasy version of the working class where it's like a fucking carpenter or a plumber or whatever. But those are all union jobs, and these people fucking hate the union too. So this whole thing, it's nonsensical. It's nonsensical. It's not going to work. I think that when a family has a young child, that absolutely there should be economic opportunities, and we should have a system that allows one or fucking maybe both of the fucking parents to just hang out for 2 or 3 years and just fucking not do shit, but like hang out with their kid and make bonds with their kid and do family shit. But like you got to pay for that somehow, and they don't want to do that. So I don't know, maybe fucking get rich on poly market. Like I don't know what like their end game is. Except I think that they just want there to be an underclass of people who cannot do this. And they want an upper class of people who can, but it's not going to be based on like a skill set or like a work ethic. It's going to just purely be based on like identity, heritage, and who the fuck your parents are. And probably whether or not you're Christian. And that's not really opportunity. That's a caste system, which we're not supposed to be into. So we got one more Christian nationalist. This is Joshua Hames, and he's kind of in the same space here. I'm going to tell you how to pick a wife.
Is she willing to submit to you as the head of the household? Will she respect you? Will she obey you? This is perhaps one of the most important things to probe for whenever you are trying to find a wife. Will she submit to your authority? Because look, we've all got some latent feminism in us, right? We've been discipled in the era of feminism, but you can cure a good, godly woman of her feminism if she is willing to obey you, if she is willing to submit to you as the head of the household. And this is a big one, guys.
So this guy's just explaining to people that are watching him how to give like a clear indication on a first date that they're to the woman essentially on the date that there will not and there should not be a second date. If you are like going out into the dating world and trying to find women who will submit to you, you are going to be alone, like all the fucking way alone. Because if you can imagine this, women have agency and they want to act with agency because they are people. People like to have and act with agency. If you are looking for, and it becomes obvious that you are looking for women who you don't think should have agency once you're in a relationship, firstly, maybe they'll figure that out on the first date. But secondly, people talk, baby. And if you don't live in like a giant fucking metro area and you don't have a lot of dating prospects, people talk. The women in your neighborhood or in your community will find out real quick that that's what you're trying to do. And then you won't even get that first date because they'll be like, he wants you to do what? So I'm sorry, that is not good dating advice. I think dating advice, you should try to keep an open mind and try to understand that the other person on the date is probably different than you, and see how it goes. I know that's not the advice these people want to do because these people want the fucking Handmaid's Tale, And I don't want to live in that world because I would be a gender traitor and I would be murdered. So that's that. And that's the podcast. We got out of here hour and a half. Not bad. Shorter docket than usual. If you listened all the way through to the end on the podcast, thanks for listening. If you want the rest of the show, if you want to know what happened in Red Light, join us live sometime at twitch.tv/Echoplex Media or $5 a month at patreon.com/Echoplex, or even better, $5 a month at eplex.store. You get the whole show in your inbox the day after it records. And that's generally 1 or 2 days before the podcast hits things like Spotify. If you're watching live, thanks for hanging out during the podcast. I appreciate all of you for being here, keeping the chat a little bit lively without me responding. You know the drill. Stay put. I'm going to change the color of the lights in this room and the contents of my beverage, and we'll be right back with Red Light. This is Boomers by Periscope, because of course it is.